Fox News alert, more on our breaking news out of the Pentagon as it confirms that Iran fired on an unarmed U.S. drone back on November 1st. The unmanned Predator drone was apparently conducting routine surveillance some 16 miles off the coast, and the attack marks the first time ever that a U.S. drone has been fired upon by Iranian fighter jets. We've asked John Bolton, our former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, to come back, and he did. Thank you, sir. And back with us as well as our national security correspondent, Jennifer Griffin, who's live at the Pentagon. Ambassador, I'm going to get you to react in a minute, but Jennifer, I just want to clear a couple things up with you because you said this is the first time it's happened. The drone was doing routine maritime surveillance. It wasn't hit. Does the Pentagon say this was an act of war?
Well, the Pentagon wouldn't go there. George Little was asked that question during the briefing, and he said he wouldn't get into, quote, legal characterizations. But it is, as you mentioned, the first time an American drone has ever been fired on by Iranian aircraft, fighter jets, and it was in international waters. It was 16 miles off the coast of Iran. It also is important to point out, Megan, that this was a classified mission. That suggests that while the Pentagon may say it was routine surveillance of the maritime Straits, it was a classified mission.
Ambassador, your reaction?
Well, you know, the Iranians have gotten at least one other American drone. They claim they shot it down. We claim that it landed by malfunction. But in any event, they're obviously intending to show that that they're prepared to use force to brush us back. And I think, although the timing of this was before the election, I think there is something to the proposition that the Iranians are trying to show to the United States that any use of military force against their nuclear program would not go unattended.
Jennifer, is there any understanding about whether the Iranians intended to bring this thing down, or were, shooting but missing intentionally just to sort of, put a thumb in our face?
Well, it's a good question, and U.S. military intelligence isn't sure if the Iranian fighter jets, the Su-25 Frogfoot aircraft, whether they missed because they were a bad shot or whether they were warning shots. I think they were taking the shooting pretty seriously, and they missed. And also, to add to what Ambassador Bolton said, that Sentinel drone that went down inside Iran was flying on a classified mission, and it had crossed in. This is the one months ago that was brought down somehow inside Iran. That was a very a big loss for the Pentagon. It was a stealth drone, and it was on a classified mission inside Iran, taking a look at some of Iran's nuclear sites.
Do you believe that this was not disclosed, Ambassador, because it was a classified mission? In other words, is there any reason to doubt that that was the reason, given that this happened a couple of days before a presidential election?
Yeah, well, not clear why it's come out now, but I do think that that we've got, I hope anyway, lots of drones inside and outside Iran looking at their nuclear operations, their ballistic missile programs, the disposition of their forces. Nobody should be surprised that we've got drones and other equipment up there. I would think that the Iranians did want to shoot this down, and if they could, capture it and use it for their own purposes.
The other thing Jennifer mentioned was that we protested the incident. We're up against another hard break. I'm going to hold you guys over, because to whom, and is there more we could or should be doing? That's what we'll talk about next. Fox News alert as we get more on this information that an unmanned U.S. Predator drone was shot at by Iranians, was not hit, but the incident happened on November 1st, and we are just now learning of it. I want to start with you again, Jennifer. We protested the incident. What does that mean?
Well, that means that the State Department, through the Swiss delegation that represents the U.S. in Tehran, because as you know, the U.S. doesn't have an embassy in Iran, hasn't had one since 1979, and the Swiss represent the U.S. there. So the State Department protested, saying that this drone was flying in international waters when the two Su-25 fighter jets fired at it.
Is that what we are supposed to do, Ambassador?
Right. So the Swiss are our protecting power in Tehran. I'm sure it was a very stiff note by the State Department. Look, this is, if you don't like this kind of behavior from Iran now, assuming our drone was in international airspace. Just imagine what it's going to be like when Iran gets nuclear weapons.
What do you make of it, Ambassador? Are they just trying to be provocative with this?
Well, I think they're trying to show that they're ready. They obviously don't like this surveillance. I think they are worried more about Israel taking military action, preemptive military action against their nuclear program, and they'd love to bring down another American drone. It would be a propaganda coup for them if they could. It also has the side benefit of increasing tensions in the Persian Gulf. I bet the oil traders are now out bidding up the price of petroleum on the international market. That's another plus for Iran as well.
Jennifer, the distinction here, as I understand it, between that other drone and this one is was definitely in international airspace versus in Iranian airspace?
That's certainly what the Pentagon says. The previous one, the RQ-170 Sentinel that went down in December of 2011, that went down over Iranian airspace, and it was, we eventually learned from U.S. officials, it was monitoring Iran's nuclear sites.
So this is a more significant attempt because you're allowed to be, I guess, in the international airspace, right? All right. All right, thank you both. Jennifer, Ambassador, all the best. We appreciate you being here on this breaking news, and we will be right back. Don't go away.